Hello, everybody, and welcome to Turn to Page 24, Lost in Stinkeye Swamp. How are you doing, Raps?
Incredibly well, Rita, and yourself?
Oh, I'm good. I didn't realize how strange just Stinkeye Swamp, just something about it. Stinkeye Swamp.
It really does sound like an old-timey word for like a disease. Like we call it pink eye now, but they used to call it getting the old stink eye swamp.
I think that's the thing. Is like I know stink eye is something like I gave him the old stink eye, but I keep on reading this and I think that's what it is. I think I just keep thinking Lost in Pink Eye Swamp, and I think it makes me more uncomfortable than Stink Eye Swamp by a long shot.
It also kind of looks like it's just written in Old English and it's lost in Stinky Swamp and it's just supposed to be pronounced that way.
Yeah, it could.
And it looks stinky. Don't get me wrong. There are the correct noxious colors in this. There is an off yellow mixed with vibrant greens into a more dark, grassy, mossy green out at the sides. We also have managed to get this far without talking about the luscious lips of the Venus flytrap plant at the very front here.
Mwah. And also the teeth.
Sure, but they bait you in with the lips and then they get you with the teeth.
Yeah, that's
the trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. Same thing with Friends. They all do that. Just
Joey, Monica, Ross, the rest of them.
They bait you in.
Can't
with
trust a single soul.
And then
Phoebe's cool.
Chomp. Phoebe's cool. I will say, I looked it up after last time, and I had the assumption that the art on the cover was from a different artist, and it was not. It was not, and I don't think it is. It is just, it's the same artist, I think, Mark Nagata, who is not currently in Curve World. Is just the thing. It's just, I think that he went for a different style when the cover shifted. I think it's just the thing.
I think he got glasses. I think he just got his prescription correct.
That sounds so insulting, but I know that it's because of the curvature.
Yes, it's exclusively the curvature and how lenses work.
Yes.
It's a technical joke, not like a four eyes joke.
Yeah, I have glasses, so I mean, I love Mark's work.
Excuse me? How many pairs of glasses? 4? 6?
3.
3, I guess that's, and then plus the 2 original eyes.
Yeah.
And then the extra secret eyes. 9 eyes?
Yeah. Something like that. Wait. Yeah, more or less, plus or minus a couple. Either way, I'm ready to get into this. I'm curious about a swamp biome kind of situation. But before we do that, I want to say the big
thank you.
The big thank you. Before I forget, massive, colossal thank you to Heather for scanning and sending in this book. Heather did us the massive solid of scanning literally every single page in this book and then sending it to us. Isn't that absurd? That is so, it's magnificent. And because of that, we'll be able to read this one, and it came from the internet when we otherwise would not be able to have podcast episodes on that. So huge thank you to Heather.
Incredible thanks. These especially. Also, it came from the internet is just an artifact that needs to be cataloged for the ages. Much appreciated, Heather.
Absolutely. But speaking of cataloging, let's get started in Stinkeye Swamp. You want to get us in on the Beware page?
Beware!
Oh.
Don't read the book from beginning to end. Hey, you! What stinks? Your new house is right next to Stinkeye Swamp. There's only one good thing about it. A legend says there's a treasure hidden nearby. Maybe in the swamp. Or maybe even in your basement. You want that treasure, but to find it, you'll have to deal with some bad stuff. Like dark tunnels, man-traps, flesh-eating fish, and very angry ghosts. Oh, and one thing, the legend also says the treasure is cursed. This scary story is all about you. You decide what will happen and how terrifying the scares will be.
Man-traps.
Man-traps. It's effectively the man-eating bug, right? It's just a
man-eater bug. Yeah.
Yeah, man-eater bug. Sorry,
yeah, of course. Sorry. Yes. No, it's sorry. Didn't mean to. But you activated my trap card. I had to. Aha.
Oh no!
Oh baby. I don't know. It seems very. It just feels. this book seems played straight, and I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get into another one that is just kind of played straight, because they've been really good ones to me. There's something about them that just, I feel like I can get more immersed in it, and I don't know. So
I agree. There is one other difference though between this and previous ones. Of it gives very, very little direction, other than it might be in the swamp or your basement. Pretty much all of this doesn't really tell you anything about the way in which you will encounter these. So we will be blindly foraging towards the Venus flytrap on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. And also, wait, let's see, it's hidden nearby, or maybe even if you're, I don't know. I was gonna say it seems no matter what, we'll be doing something in theme with the book, but apparently maybe not, unless our basement is also swampy. We'll see. There's no way to know but to know, and that way is by reading. So, page 1.
Swamp house!
You shriek. You gaze out the car window at the words painted on the mailbox.
You didn't tell me our new house is called Swamp House!
Your dad steers the station wagon down the long, bumpy driveway.
Ah, you'll love it, mate.
He assures you. Then you get a look at the house. It's a dump, a huge, run-down, ancient-looking dump. The white paint is dirty and peeling. Half the shutters are hanging by one hinge.
Hell of a fixer-upper.
Your dad says as he parks the car. More like a knocker-downer, you think.
Oh,
Actually good.
Legitimately incredible.
You get out of the car and take a deep breath. Yuck, what smells so gross? You gaze around and see that the house sits next to a big, ugly swamp.
That's Stinkeye Swamp for you.
Your dad explains as you start unpacking the car.
50 square kilometers of wilderness right in our backyard. Isn't it great? Whoopee.
You mutter.
The swamp is supposed to be haunted.
Your mom adds.
And they say there's a buried treasure around here. There's even a legend about Annabelle's curse.
She shivers.
Ooh.
This is the most, like, just upfront. It's been a long time since we've gotten the entire, like, premise on page 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long. Go
It
to
really
page 2.
has.
It really has.
Mom.
You groan. You know she's faking. She punches you playfully on the shoulder.
What a grouch.
She teases.
You know you love creepy stuff like ghosts and legends.
You'd never admit it, but your mom is right. The stuff about the treasure and the legend sounds cool, but the ghost part is lame, though.
Welcome to Stinkeye Swamp.
A voice calls. You drop the carton you're holding and turn around. A boy about your age approaches. He has a pale face and long black hair.
I'm Zeke.
He tells you. He gazes past you at the house.
So somebody finally bought Swamp House.
You sigh.
My parents.
You mutter.
The fixer-uppers.
Zeke laughs.
Well, there's plenty of fixing up to do here, but that could be cool.
He adds.
It will keep your parents out of your hair.
For the first time since you heard about moving, you smile.
Hey, you've got a point.
You say. A broad grin spreads across your face. You like the way this kid thinks. Turn to page 3. You and Zeke end up being great friends. Wow. Boom. Wish it was that easy. Dang.
Incredible.
He doesn't go to your school, but you hang out together every afternoon. Zeke's biggest drawback? He's totally obsessed with Annabelle's curse and finding the treasure.
Oh, come on. What have we got to lose?
Zeke urges one afternoon for the millionth time. You roll your eyes.
I'm tired of looking for treasure.
You tell him.
That's all you ever want to do. We've searched the whole house like 100 times already.
It's Friday after school. Your parents are at work. You and Zeke are playing catch in the weed-infested backyard.
Oh, come on.
Zeke replies.
Even if there's no treasure, we might find something down there.
Oh, down there, in quotations, is the basement of Swamp House. You haven't searched there yet because the basement stinks. Smells just like Stinkeye Swamp. With a shrug, you follow him. Who knows? Maybe you'll dig up some old comic books. Those might be worth something. Descend to page 4.
You know, if you've searched the whole house 100 times, but not the basement once, I think you haven't searched the house once.
I think that might be true. You step from the hot sun into the damp, cold basement. It's even worse than you expected. Old, rotted chairs are stacked to the ceiling, along with crumbling papers, moldy trunks, piles of rags, rusty tin cans, old sewing machine, about 300 cardboard boxes.
There's nothing here.
You complain to Zeke after a few minutes of poking around. You're already bored, and you have that creepy feeling that there might be a large rat or two crawling around behind some of these boxes. Zeke is on his hands and knees in the dust.
Wait!
He cries, popping up.
Look at this!
He holds out a bright, gleaming tube.
Cool.
You exclaim.
An old telescope.
In the glaring light of the bare bulb, the brass cylinder shines brightly, almost as if it's glowing.
It's something a ship's captain would use.
Zeke comments, turning it in his hands. Letters are etched on the sides.
Hey, let me see.
You demand. You take a few steps towards Zeke and trip over something on the floor.
Whoa!
You yell, "You're going down!" Trip on to page 5.
Timber. You gotta move.
Excuse me, wrong era. You land... Is it? Wait, hold on. Yes.
It is, yes.
Excuse me, we can't... we've held to a very strict policy of not making any references that date past this book. Uh-huh.
Look, he's Mr. Worldwide, and he's also Mr. All Time. He's forever and everywhere.
You know what? You got me there.
How?
You land on top of an old trunk.
Are you okay?
Zeke asks.
I tripped over something.
You explain. You reach down and pick up an old leather-bound book. It's held shut with a thick strap.
What's that?
Zeke asks. He walks over. You study the heavy brown volume. The rich leather of the book's cover shines dully. The pages are bursting out of the binding. One hangs loose. You can even see the writing in tiny black letters.
It looks like some kind of diary.
You answer.
Let's open it up and read it.
Zeke exclaims.
Oh, maybe the secret of Swamp House treasure's in there.
For the first time, you're as excited as Zeke. You're dying to read the book. But Zeke is still holding the gleaming telescope. You can't wait to look through that. You could probably see for miles with it. Which should you do first? To read the diary, page 27. To peer through the telescope, page 25. This was a hefty trek to get to our first choice. But I kind of like it. I feel like we had more... First of all, a couple reasons. One, more world building before we have our decision to make. Second of all, if we fail, it's nice to know that we don't have to go back as far.
Also true.
So, this is interesting because, yeah, it's very much... I wouldn't be shocked either way if this is us picking our big diversion, because often they have made it so the first choice is the diversion, but it might not be anymore on this one.
Exactly how I feel about it, but with the additional level of something I held back in the opener was making a reference to Cabin in the Woods, which is a meta horror / comedy film from a couple of years ago, 2008, I think. However, it's relevant now because in that film and in here, we effectively have to travel into the basement and choose the first artifact we see, and the first one we interact with will decide the horror that ultimately comes after us. In that case, they happen to read the diary of Patience Ann Buckner first, so they get the zombie family. But there's actually a catalog online of all of the different cursed objects that were in that basement, how they were activated, and what they would have summoned if they had been.
Huh.
Super cool. We're basically in the prototype version of that where you only have two choices, so it's the diary or the telescope. I have to admit, the diary pulls at my heart a little more than a telescope, especially considering we are in a basement, so peering through the telescope, ideally we would see wall. If we don't, then our house has flown away.
I'm on 27.
Let's do it, let's do it.
No. Okay. All right, 27.
If there really is a treasure, I bet the book will give us a clue.
You declare.
All right, let's read it.
Zeke puts down the telescope and peers over your shoulder. You struggle to get the strap off the journal.
Oh, be careful!
Zeke warns. Whoops, too late. You yank a little bit too hard on the strap and the book flies open. Pages scatter everywhere.
Oh no.
You groan.
Look!
Zeke cries.
The first page is still there.
Sure enough, the first page is still stuck to the binding. As Zeke scoops up the loose pages, you begin to read out loud on page 16.
November 11th, 1797.
You read.
Wow.
You let out a low whistle.
That's 200 years ago.
The edges of the page crumble as you hold it up to keep reading.
Dear diary, I'll show them. They think they can keep me from dancing with Hubert, but now I find a way of getting to the ball. Today I found the entrance to the old smuggler's tunnel I did. When they're all asleep, I'll be on my way. Won't Hubert be surprised to see me at the ball in my new gown? I can hardly wait. Annabelle. Annabelle?
You gasp.
That's the name in the legend.
Zeke cries. You glance back at the page.
Smugglers.
You murmur.
Annabelle said she found a tunnel used by smugglers. And where there are smugglers,
Zeke reasons.
there's treasure.
I mean, not exclusively. But
yeah, like at one of the locations that smugglers go to, certainly there will be treasure.
I mean, I will say, like, you know, not everything that smugglers smuggle is something that children might be interested in as well. So it's not entirely. Treasure is a loose.
Oh, look, it's the deed to a peninsula off South Africa. Oh, look.
I mean, hey, it's a view. The coast. I mean, hey, you finish. You grin at Zeke.
And we're gonna find it.
Find out more on page 120. After
I don't often like
scrolling
pulling direct attention to the voices, but I have to say I like a dichotomy between an Australian and an American voice for the two openers.
It's
Fun.
It also makes it extra easy to follow, I would imagine.
Yep, extremely true for me.
All right,
Also, I've no, that's a side story. Awesome.
Zeke cries. Then he peers at you.
How? With this?
You reply, waving the book.
Annabelle's diary. I bet she knew how to get into the smuggler's tunnel. Hey, maybe Annabelle even found the treasure.
Zeke declares excitedly.
Oh, maybe she wrote about that too.
You flip over the page you were reading. Perfect.
Look,
You exclaim.
there's a map on the back of this page.
You show Zeke the other side of the yellowing paper.
That's not a map.
Zeke complains after looking at it.
It's a puzzle. See? Oh, it shows two secret doors in the wall over there. But only one door leads to the tunnel. To find the right door, we've got to solve the puzzle.
Or try both. There's two.
Mm.
You read the instructions on the puzzle.
It says here that the floor stones in the basement form a pattern.
You tell Zeke. Quickly, you and Zeke push aside old boxes until you can see most of the floor. There it is, a pattern in the stones, but what does it mean? Puzzle it out on page 39.
Oh no, we don't have Crystal to help us with this one.
Oh my god, is this Minesweeper? Is this Minesweeper? Is this Minesweeper? We'll find out.
Isn't
I don't think it is, but you read more of the instructions. Start at the stairs, move from stone to stone in any direction, including diagonally. You can only move to equal or higher numbers, and you may not stand on the same stone twice. Follow the directions, and you will find the entrance. Fail and beware! Okay, wait. So, you may only move to equal or higher numbers.
Yes, which eliminates one of these options immediately.
Indeed.
B is surrounded by twos, and those twos are surrounded by other twos, which is surrounded by higher numbers, or a 3, which means that they are never accessible from any of their adjacencies.
It's true. Oh, wait, you can move diagonal?
Yes, you can move diagonal.
Oh, okay. Well, then...
So it's diagonal right, diagonal right, diagonal right, diagonal left, diagonal right, diagonal left, diagonal left.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
This is great for audio podcasts, but basically there's a bunch of numbers on the floors, okay? It's just like, it's a grid of, it's a 5 by 7? 5 by 7 grid, more or less, that all have a bunch of numbers on it, on the tiles. And, yeah. Just Raps did it right. Okay. Just trust Raps, okay?
just trust Raps.
Just trust Raps. Go to page 14 then. Right?
Yep.
It's 14. Uh-oh. Oh,
You okay?
gotta scroll. Scrolling's hard. You step carefully.
managed to get there.
I'm not even writing down what the page that we could have gone to is because I just trust Raps that much.
Thank you.
You
I appreciate this faith in me.
I didn't look at the puzzle, but I trust. I didn't look for the answer, but I trust you. You step carefully from stone to stone. Zeke is right behind you. Soon you're standing in front of a stone wall.
We must have goofed.
Ah, Raps! You mutter.
There's no door here. I'll never trust that Raps.
Annoyed, you smack the stones in front of you, and then a section of the wall swings back noiselessly.
Oh, we did it!
Zeke cries.
It's the door to the smuggler's tunnel. Never lose faith. Let's go!
You're nervous and excited. The tunnel is dark and you have no idea where it goes. But now you really believe you could find the treasure.
We should get some...
You were about to say supplies, like food, rope, and water, but Zeke brushes past you into the tunnel before you can finish. You grab an old flashlight that's lying on a trunk and rush in after him.
Zeke!
You call, waving the flashlight back and forth. You don't see him. And then you hear something that makes your blood run cold. The sound of the secret door slamming shut behind you. Turn to page 52. 52. Zeke rushes back.
Why'd you shut the door?
He demands.
I didn't shut it!
You reply angrily.
It slammed by itself. And look, there's no doorknob on this side.
You both try and pry the door open, but it's stuck fast.
Well, we can't get back in.
Zeke grumbles, shrugging.
So, let's look for the treasure. That's what we came for.
You agree, trying to sound brave.
Besides,
You add.
this tunnel leads somewhere. There's gotta be another exit.
You and Zeke step forward carefully, guided by the weak light of the old flashlight. The tunnel slopes down, its walls and ceilings are shaped like an arch. You thought it'd be damp and rough, but instead they're smooth and dry. It's almost as if you're still in your basement. You begin to feel less nervous.
Hey, this isn't so bad.
You comment as you walk.
It could be worse.
Zeke agrees. Then he suddenly flings his arm at you, smacking you hard in the stomach. Hold your stomach and turn to page 8. Zeke? The hell?
Zeke? Ouch!
You yelp.
Why did you hit me? Because I didn't want you to fall.
Zeke replies. You aim your flashlight at the ground, and you gasp. The tunnel comes to an abrupt end. A vast black hole stretches in front of you. When you shine the flashlight into it, you can't see anything except darkness. A very rickety-looking ladder leads into the pit.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Zeke sounds nervous.
Okay.
You hand Zeke the flashlight and grab the top of the ladder.
I wish those smugglers put in an elevator.
You joke. Good one. The old ladder buckles with your weight, but it stays attached to the wall. You go down one rung at a time.
Do you see anything?
Zeke calls out.
No.
You call back as you keep climbing down.
I'm coming down.
Zeke hollers.
Don't.
You shout.
The ladder won't.
You were going to say, hold us both, but it's too late. As Zeke puts his weight on the top rung, you feel the ladder sway and twist. With a sickening snap, it breaks free from the wall, land onto page 103.
As it turns out, you needed to go to the wrong answer in the secret door question.
I feel like we've had that happen before. Like there was in one of the earlier books, it was like, do this thing, this challenge that's obviously good, and if you're good at it, you fail. I don't know.
I think so as well.
I can't remember what it is,
Might
but
it
it's
be the
early.
Egypt one?
That sounds right. That sounds right. You and Zeke don't even have time to scream as you fall into the pitch black hole. Wham! Somehow you land feet first on a solid stone ledge. Then something heavy knocks you to the ground.
Hang on, I've got a second for something. Ah!
You scream.
Take it easy.
Zeke's voice echoes in the darkness. Easy.
It's just me. Wow.
He exclaims as the two of you untangle yourselves. He pulls the flashlight from his pocket and aims it up at the broken ladder.
Why didn't you tell me the ladder's so weak?
You roll your eyes, then you grab the flashlight and shine it around you. You've landed on a wide stone ledge. Just below you is a pit full of water. You can see green pond scum floating on the dirty brown liquid. Small red and gold shapes wriggle in the filthy water.
Goldfish?
You murmur. You're surprised to see them, but they look kind of cute and familiar in this strange place.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't land in that water.
Zeke says.
Don't be too happy.
You warn him.
Look around. The only way off this ledge is to swim.
Turn to page 73.
Swim? In that?
Zeke stares at the filthy water.
Do you have a better idea?
You ask.
Look, there's another tunnel across the pool. We can't go back up, so that's the only way out.
Zeke points.
Oh, I think this ledge goes all the way around, actually.
You peer through the darkness. The ledge gets narrower as it winds around the pool. It seems to stop halfway, but it's hard to tell with your flashlight's weak beam.
We can't make it that way.
You object.
It's too narrow. And those rocks over the ledge look too loose. What if they fall on us? Oh, it's better than swimming in gunk.
Zeke replies. You gaze at the gross water. He has a point. You have to get across, but how? Do the backstroke to page 45 or edge along the ledge to 12. So,
Edge along the ledge is just a great sentence. And even if I didn't feel like those, the goldfish are not goldfish and instead the man-eating fish that were mentioned, the flesh-eating fish rather that were mentioned earlier, I think maybe it's ledge time for us.
Those are moldfish.
Classic moldfish.
Classic moldfish. I'm already on page 12. When I heard edge across the ledge, I just flipped immediately.
There's something about those goldfish I don't like.
You declare.
Yeah, they look fishy to me too.
Zeke agrees.
Let's try the ledge.
You tell him. Zeke leads the way. The two of you inch onto the ledge around the pool. The ledge narrows quickly, and soon it's only a few inches wide. You have to lean flat against the rough stone wall.
Are we almost there?
You ask. You reach with your toe in the near darkness. You press against the wall for balance.
Yup.
Zeke replies.
See? I told you this was the right way. Yeah!
The stone wall you're leaning against suddenly collapses, and Zeke vanishes through a gaping, jagged hole.
Zeke!
You shout. You reach out to grab him, but you lose your balance and fall through too. Drop onto page 22. The two of you crash onto the floor of another tunnel. Luckily, you only fall a few feet. You stand up. The ground is covered with a thick, oozing muck. You blink several times in the bright light from the bare electric bulbs dangling from the ceiling. They seem blinding after the gloom of the cavern.
Zeke!
You exclaim.
Look at these walls. They're made of cement. And those light bulbs up there? Where are we now? What's the matter with you kids?
A gruff voice breaks in.
Haven't you never been in a sewer before?
You glance up. A man is walking towards you carrying a shovel and a large wrench over his shoulder. He's wearing a dirty orange overalls and high rubber boots. His hair is long and filthy, and his face is almost hidden by a thick black beard.
You two aren't in the sewers workers union, are you?
He demands. Go to page 100 to join the sewer workers union.
I'm just intrigued as to how this is going to go for a second here.
I like.
When was this released?
Oh yeah.
We're not sewer workers.
You reply.
We're just lost down here.
You glance around.
Are we really in the sewer? Of course you're in the sewer.
The man sounds insulted.
Obviously. I've been working in the sewers for almost 20 years, and I ought to know when I'm in a sewer.
He sticks out his... I love that. I love the thought that he's insulted. Like, of course this is a sewer. Like, he is personally insulted.
He also did have the reaction on the last page of, like, we're a little curious about it, and he's like, what's the matter? You never been in a sewer? That's the most common place. I was born in a sewer, mate. That's where I was raised.
Raised by it, yeah. He sticks out his hand and...
Molded by it.
Moldfished by it. He sticks out his hand and you find yours being squeezed in a hearty handshake.
Name's Ed.
He tells you.
Repair crew 14.
He peers at you carefully.
So you're not a foreman, are you? No.
You tell him, hiding a grin. He's gonna eventually get to what we are, one day. Can't he see that you're just a kid? You and Zeke introduce yourselves.
Hey!
Zeke declares happily.
Oh, if you're a sewer worker, and this is the sewer, you can get us out of here. Nope.
Ed says with a shake of his head.
No can do, sorry. Why not?
You ask.
I'm lost too.
Ed replies.
I got lost on the first day of my work. I've been lost almost 20 years.
You and Zeke stare at each other. What's this guy talking about? Turn to page 7. I survive on sewage and rats.
I didn't actually make it to check into my first shift, so I'm not really getting paid overtime for this.
Alright, page 7.
What do you mean you've been lost for 20 years?
You demand.
Oh, just a luck.
Zeke moans.
A sewer worker who's lost in the sewer. I might be lost.
Ed retorts.
But I know a lot about getting around down here. Come on, I'll show you through the work site.
Ed slogs off through the muck on the ground. You and Zeke hesitate for a moment, then hurry to catch up. A thought occurs to you. Hey,
Hey.
Oh, that's words.
Hey, if you've been down here for 20 years, what have you been eating?
Ed ignores your question.
Sewer's a very interesting place, what with all the treasure and all.
He announces.
Treasure?
You repeat.
So the legend is true. Sure. There's a whole bunch of blue jewels and smugglers lost down here. I'll show you.
Ed offers. He takes a few steps. Then Ed stops and scratches his head.
Problem is, I always get the directions to the treasure mixed up with the way to the sewage recycling plant. That's where I was working while I got lost. The Green Thumb Sewage Plant and Fertilizer. Great.
You murmur.
He's more clueless than we are.
If he's been lost for 20 years and he's getting the directions mixed up with the place he's supposed to go, he should know at this point. Am I wrong?
No, read it. Because if he wanted to go back to the plant, he would accidentally go to the smugglers.
Sure. So he's been trying to go back to the plant every single time and going to the smugglers.
Well, no. He's never attempted it. Of course not.
He's the same way that we've searched our house a million times, but not the basement. He's tried to get home a million times, but not moved. I'm lost through lack of effort.
I could have sworn the direction was that way, but I'm not 100% certain, so I'm just gonna live here, eating rats.
Try not to get lost on your way to page 55, or he eats
I got lost. Oh. It's fine. I found a sewer worker, and this one actually knows his way around. He's led me to page 55.
Oh, good.
Quit complaining.
Zeke whispers.
He has to know his way around here better than we do. I mean, besides.
He adds with a gleam in his eye.
Maybe he does know how to find the treasure.
Ed leads you through the tunnels, turning right and then left, back and forth withoed pausing. Finally, he leads you to a big room with bright electric lights and a concrete floor. He stops. A large manhole cover is set into the middle of the floor. You see blue chalk markings on it. At the far end of the room is a steel door, with markings in green chalk. Ed stares at the manhole cover and then at the steel door. He mumbles, stroking his dirty beard.
I think those blue marks are the ones I left to tell me how to get back to the treasure. Or are they the ones we made when we were building the sewage plant? I can't remember.
Great.
Zeke mutters.
Oh, which way do we go now?
There's no way to know which is the right way, so just choose one. Wasn't the recycling plant something about like green something recycling? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I think the first word was green.
So
Let's go for the blue.
is there really no way to know? Or I'm upset.
I think there is a way to know, and it may reveal to us when we go to the blue. You remember that.
Yeah, so blue markings are on the manhole cover? Wait.
Blue markings on the large manhole cover, yes, indeed.
All right. Blue manhole.
Saw them in Vegas, right?
Yeah, me too. Well, not in Vegas. That's a lie. I lied. Not Vegas. All right,
Let's go
114.
into the manhole.
You tell Ed.
You said the jewels are blue, and that's the color of the chalk marks.
Meow, 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 meow. Ed shrugs and hauls open the heavy manhole cover. It's very dark down there. All you can see is the top of a steel ladder. Ed clambers down and disappears. Zeke gulps.
Well, here goes nothing.
He follows Ed into the hole. You take a deep breath and climb down after them. It's almost pitch dark when you reach the bottom of the ladder. You don't hear or see anything.
Zeke!
You don't hear. You shout.
Ed!
You don't hear. Your voice echoes in the darkness. You think you
But
hear.
you don't hear it.
But you don't hear it. You think you hear Ed. You think you hear Ed calling from up ahead, but you know that's
But you don't.
impossible. You take a step towards the phantom sound. Then Zeke yells your name quietly to himself from the other direction. Uh-oh, which way to go?
I mean,
Zeke or Ed? Well, let me write this one down.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to lose Zeke. He seems like a nice lad. He doesn't need to die here.
I agree. Okay. 66 it is. You walk in the direction of Zeke's voice. A light up ahead makes it easier to find your way through the tunnel. You even manage to run a little.
Zeke!
You shout.
Where are you?
Soon you find yourself in a large cavern. In the center hangs a brilliant white light. Underneath it you spot a slumped over figure of Zeke, and you rush towards him. And then you discover why he has not answered. That glow does not come from an electric light. It's an eerie, shining light of a ghost. The ghost appears above it to be a young teenage girl. She floats above Zeke, waving her pale arms back and forth, with her long hair streaming wildly out behind her. She turns towards you. You feel the black holes of her eye sockets burn into you. Your heart pounds and your legs shake.
Hello.
She greets you in a voice that sounds like a hurricane.
Won't you come in? I'm Annabelle.
Turn to page 10. Oh, turn to page 10. The force of Annabelle's gaze draws you forward against your will. You stumble over to join Zeke. You're both cowering on the cavern floor. Somehow you manage to speak.
Are you the Annabelle of the legend?
You ask. Your voice comes out as a thin squeak.
I am.
The terrible spirit replies. She spreads her ghostly robes as if they were giant wings.
Poor Annabelle, doomed to roam these tunnels forever. I was warned to stay away.
She continues.
But one night, I crept into these tunnels to get into a ball. Then the curse kept me here forever. Now you must share my fate.
share her fate?
You whisper to Zeke, your teeth chattering.
What does she mean?
But if Zeke knows the answer, he doesn't tell you before the ghost speaks again.
Come.
Annabelle commands.
Come and meet your doom.
She drifts out of the cavern like fog.
I'm not going anywhere.
You protest, but your feet move on their own. You have no control over your body, and like a robot, you march after the ghostly girl. March to page 43. The weird ghost girl floats ahead. You and Zeke stumble after her like puppets on a string.
Where is she taking us?
You whisper.
What does she mean, our doom? I don't know.
Zeke murmurs.
She's under some kind of curse. Maybe we're under a curse now too. Whatever you do, don't get her angry. She has very strong powers.
You nod. The last thing you want to do is get a ghost mad at you. As you are drawn along the tunnel, you see something round and glittering on the floor. It looks like a jewel. A jewel the size of a baseball. Must be part of the treasure. You want to bend over and pick it up, but, well, what if Annabelle sees you? Would that make her angry? Do you dare pick up this jewel? If you dare to pick up the jewel, page 72. If you don't, 131. I mean, why would we need it? This is a book. I don't get the real money.
We don't get the real money, that's true, but there is some point in like, oh, it's the thing that we were coming to seek. But I will say, I agree, especially because I think what might have happened here is Annabelle's test or curse or whatever is leading us past this and seeing if we try and take it, and if we try and take it, she punishes us. That's my guess.
That's my guess as well. So I say no take treasure, 131.
No take treasure.
No take treasure.
No take treasure.
No take treasure. 131.
I don't dare pick the jewel up.
You think. In the next second, Annabelle's unseen power has drawn you forward. The jewel-like object is beyond reach. You and Zeke are pulled through the near darkness. Seems as if hours go by, and then finally Annabelle stops right in front of the door to your basement. It's smooth and solid with a hole where the doorknob should be.
Lift the curse, I must return home.
She cries.
Open the door.
Freed from her spell, you and Zeke throw yourselves at the door. You pull and tug, but it doesn't budge. Finally, you give up and slump against the door, exhausted.
You failed!
Annabelle cries.
I will never return home, but neither shall you!
From out of nowhere, a powerful wind roars against you, the ground shaking and rocks fall from the ceiling.
The cabin's collapsing!
Zeke shouts. Heavy boulders drop on all sides. You look up and see a chunk of granite the size of a car falling straight towards you. You're scared stiff, but look on the bright side. Now you don't have to go to school tomorrow. The end.
Oh, sick. Good ending.
Good ending, good ending, good ending, good ending. No school, no school. Page 72, page 72.
Page 72.
Is the gem actually the freaking doorknob? Is that the thing? It's baseball sized. If that's it, I don't know.
I think it's possible. Buddy.
All right. 72. You cannot resist. That jewel could be worth a fortune. You bend over to scoop it up. You jam it into your pocket. Annabelle still moves noiselessly up ahead. She didn't seem to notice, so you breathe a sigh of relief. Your sigh almost turns to a cry of fear when you feel something poke you in the side.
Oh, take it easy.
Zeke whispers.
It's just me. What was that? What'd you tell him? What'd you find?
You start to tell him, but Annabelle turns around and directs her terrible stare right at you, and you freeze with fear. If I tell him, Annabelle might hear, you think. But what if the jewel is some kind of clue to the curse? Zeke could help you figure out what it means. Should you try and whisper to him? Whisper to Zeke on 78, or keep quiet on page 6.
I literally can't imagine them putting these two options next to one another and you have to be risky on both of them. Like, surely it's keep quiet. Surely.
Let's go to page 6. You shake your head.
Later.
You mouth. With Annabelle staring at you, there's no way you're going to say anything to Zeke. Still, you can't help but worrying that she saw you pick up the large jewel. The ghost of Annabelle lifts up one of her skeletal arms, and then a beam of light shoots out from her pale white hand. She's a wizard!
We have returned,
she cries. The beam lights up the door to your basement, the very door that you and Zeke passed through at the beginning of your adventure. You can hardly believe it. Annabelle has led you home, but why? Find out on page 70. Annabelle's terrible voice echoes off the tunnel walls.
It was here I left my home many years ago,
she declares in a voice like a howling wind.
My parents tried to keep me from going to the biggest ball of the season, but I sneaked out through these old smugglers' tunnels. People said they were cursed, but I didn't believe them. I danced all night. Then I returned here, only to find that my little brother had played a trick on me. A deadly trick. He removed the doorknob from this side. But he tricked himself also. He lost the doorknob, and he was trapped with me. We never found the knob and never returned home. We died here in this dark cavern. That was the smuggler's curse on people who use these tunnels without their permission. Now our ghosts are doomed to wander here until the curse is lifted.
She points her ghostly hand straight at you.
You!
She screams.
You can lift the curse!
Turn to page 112. Oh.
How did you know?
Where's... Oh, no. I'm scrolled past it.
Me?
Me, 1 second. Me almost there. You reply, trembling.
How can I remove the curse?
Only a living child can break the curse.
Annabelle declares.
To do it, you must choose the right path.
She waves her arm, and another beam of light reveals a second door, down a short tunnel to the left.
Down that tunnel lies the door of treasure,
she explains.
Open up one of these doors to break the curse. It is up to you. Choose wisely.
You have no idea which door to open to lift the curse. You glance at the door to your basement. It leads home, even if home is a stinky swamp house. And right now, going home sounds like the best thing in the world. You want to get away from Annabelle and out of these creepy tunnels as fast as possible. Then you peer down the short tunnel to the door guarding the treasure. It's so close and you'd be rich. A chill travels down your spine. Which one?
Choose,
Annabelle commands again. You heard her. To go to the treasure, turn to page 89. To go home, page 90.
I mean, this is absolutely, like, we got the treasure, we got the crystal, right? The crystal is going to be a diamond, it's also going to be the doorknob, and then we sell that afterwards. If we go for the treasure, she's like, you're betraying me.
If it's not 90, I am upset.
Yeah.
All right. Suddenly, it hits you. The curse began when Annabelle left home. To break it, she has to get back to her house. You must open the door to the basement, but how? You walk to the door with Zeke and Annabelle hovering behind you. In the glow from Annabelle's light, you spot the hole where the doorknob should go. The rest of the door is smooth.
Without the doorknob, we cannot enter,
Annabelle wails. You shove your hand into your pockets as you try and think of a solution. And then your hand hits the big jewel you found on the tunnel floor. You pull it out and peer at it more closely. It's not a jewel at all. It's a carved piece of crystal. A metal rod sticks out of it at one end.
Hey, maybe this'll work,
you say. You slip it into the hole in the door, and it clicks as it slides into place. With a trembling hand, you turn the knob, the door swings open, and you can see the old basement on the other side.
The curse is broken!
Annabelle declares, her voice sounding gentler, almost human.
I'm free, thanks to you!
You and Zeke rush towards the door.
Wait!
Annabelle cries.
As a reward for breaking the curse, I'll show you the treasure.
Take it, take it, take it! On page 97. Treasure? Yahoo, you think. I love treasure, you think. This'll be fun, you think. You turn to Annabelle.
Sure, that'd be nice.
You and Zeke follow Annabelle down the narrow tunnel to the second door. It's dark, solid-looking wood held shut by solid iron lock.
Only my dear brother can open this door.
Annabelle tells you.
Your brother?
Oh my god, you moan.
Where's he? Right here.
A voice announces. You turn around.
Zeke?
You murmur.
You're Annabelle's brother?
Figure it all out on page 101.
Okay, so before we do that, I'm going to say that Zeke is announcing that Ed is here, and Ed is actually the Annabelle's brother.
I would love that. Yeah, we did kind of just
on, Ed.
abandon the whole Ed element.
It really does feel like that.
I think that if we would have went for Ed instead of Zeke, we would not have. But hey. What? You ask with a shudder.
You're a ghost? Well, duh.
Zeke replies. As you watch, he grows almost transparent, like Annabelle.
But you should really pick your friends more carefully, eh?
He tells you.
Now let's see about that treasure.
He waves his hand and the massive door swings open. On the other side of the room is a room full of gold coins and jewels.
It's yours.
Zeke informs you as he rises into the air next to Annabelle.
It's your reward for finding the doorknob and breaking the curse. We have no use for it. It's the least we can do.
Annabelle adds.
So what are you going to buy with all this wealth? I was going to buy my old house back and move back into my old neighborhood.
You reply.
But now I don't know. You mean you want to stay at Swamp House?
Zeke asks.
Yeah.
You answer with a grin.
Because after you two take off, it won't be haunted anymore.
The end.
I was following the entire time and assuming it was going to be along the lines of, yeah, because once I leave, I won't have you two as friends or something like, something neat. But no, it's like, no, I lifted the curse. You two are going to go on to the afterlife and become, nothing effectively. And this house will be fine. So like.
Yeah, I know that I didn't like anything about this house, but the thing that was keeping this, place kind of nice was the friendship. But
yep.
Now that you guys are going to be gone, now I'm thinking it might not be so bad.
I'm going to be friends with the house.
I'm going to be friends with the house. Me and House. Friendship ended with Zeke. House is my new BFF. Oh my.
Now, kid, it's never lupus, right?
What's up?
I like this. I like this book. This very streamlined.
I was going to say, most notably, aside from literally the last couple sentences, I thought it was one of the more well-written books too. It just felt like there's something almost a little bit more poetic to some of the writing sometimes. It just felt very streamlined, very clean. It felt like we worked through it in a way that did just feel like a clean story. That
yep.
If you subtract out the one death, which, I mean, hey, Pog, if you subtract out the one death and you just read that through clean, it wouldn't have felt like we were really jumping through too much, where sometimes in the other books, between some choices, even though it should feel like a clean, streamlined story, it feels a little bit more jumpy anyways than this one did for sure. I liked it a lot. I'm really glad we got to read this one. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you again, Heather.
But yeah, very enjoyed. But I don't know, anything else you want to say about the book?
I don't have anything in particular, actually, that immediately comes to mind. I enjoyed the fact that there were a lot of hints, effectively, like the baseball size of the doorknob and the baseball size of the crystal, and the fact that it teased in the one that we did incorrectly, hey, you open the door in order to remove her curse.
Yeah.
It felt like it was one of the ones that more well telegraphed where it wanted you to go, even if
Yeah.
it lied to us saying like you have no clue where this could possibly be. It's like no. They actually hid 2 hints in the previous one. There was the G in the green name of the company, and there was also the blue of the crystal, which I didn't think was as tangible a connection. But they gave you 2 to try and make sure you didn't miss it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just nice. I like that too. Just felt less random, less scattered. Just a nice, good time. I enjoyed it many. But hey, alas, as we get to the end here, if you enjoyed this episode and you're listening to it on any kind of a streaming service, which it is on any major platform for podcasts, go make sure to leave a little bit of a review if you have not yet. Or if you're watching it in YouTube form on youtube.com/@turntopagecast, make sure to leave a like, stuff like that. Be wonderful. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I love this podcast. I love this book. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for listening.
Merry Christmas to all.
And to all, Goose Night. Bye-bye.
Good fright.
Oh,
Goodbye.
shoot. I beefed it. Raps, I beefed it. Bye.
Die! Edit that out.